It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Hello and welcome to Mindfully Thrive with me, your host, Ella Humphreys. This is the podcast that celebrates the present, the joys where we are, the journey it's taken to get here, and the ability to see our greatness for the future. We celebrate female founders, adventure seekers, and creative entrepreneurs who are building their dreams alongside raising babies and any other life commitments that can so easily distract us from the path we truly desire. This is the podcast about coming back to who we are in this life and that our dreams, goals, and ambitions are valid and possible while also being a loving and present parent. This week's quote is a favourite of Kirsty Wiseman, my guest today. Kirsty is the founder of her artisan Belgian chocolate and greeting card company, Beepoppaloola. She makes delicious artisan chocolates filled to the brim with tasty toppings and fillings. With a loyal and committed following, she has built a community of open and easy conversation by sharing her day-to-day running of the company on her Instagram stories. Kirsty has lived a life full of variety, leaving school at 16 to go into the RAF and now running her chocolatier business from home. She shares her journey from the origins of her creative path and how her business grew more out of necessity than out of a passion. Due to family commitments, she dug deep to create a life that worked for her and her family, a whole 180 degrees from the regimented life of the military. I think you will be inspired as you find that we are all multifaceted. How out of necessity we can rise up and create something beautiful and functional out of a seemingly forgotten hobby. This episode is all about living on purpose. It's about acceptance of circumstance and making the best of it. Having awareness of your skills, passions and talents and using them, but above all being of service to others. So hi Kirsty, welcome to Mindfully Thrive.
Hi Ella, thanks so much for inviting me. This is my first ever podcast. That's exciting.
Wow. Very exciting. It's so wonderful to have you here today. I follow you on Instagram. I'm seeing you every day, but to actually have this conversation is really lovely. Before I begin, I usually ask my guests three same questions. So what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful specifically today, sunshine, because it's been a long winter. So I'm grateful for I just love it. It just instantly puts a smile on your face.
Definitely. These early spring days really is when we feel so alive. When the sun comes out, we really notice it. What does thrive mean to you?
Thrive? Oh gosh, thrive to me is just being happy, knowing that what you've done is an accomplishment and knowing that when you've achieved it, you can do it again. So it all comes with that experience, but thriving to me is survival, experience and success.
Wonderful way of seeing it. And what does an ideal morning look like in your life?
I'm not really a creature of habits, so a morning for me is just grateful for a restful sleep. If I've had a restful sleep, that's it. I can just set to anything. So perfect morning would be just pop out of bed, just come alive in my own time. I'm not really a big breakfast person. I don't grab the kettle. I just come around, be aware of my senses, focus on what I need to do, and just let the day develop. Because even though as much as I try and plan, there's always things that come and take you by surprise. So I'm always prepared for that surprise. So I just let a day develop.
Mm-hmm. So that's fortunate that you work for yourself and you're able to make your day flow with you and your family. You are getting very busy at the moment because we're coming up to Mother's Day and you're getting your orders out, and I imagine you're spending most of your days in the kitchen. But have your days always looked like this?
No, I've been self-employed on and off for a number of years. I've gone back to work, found that I don't tend to thrive in an office environment. So that's a mixture of personalities, demands, egos. It's always a mix that I never seem to fit into, and I enjoy it, but I do like working for myself. I can just be quiet when I want. I can be loud when I want. I can switch off. I can join in. I can just cherry pick all the good things. And I think I'll always work for myself. Even I'm doing a degree at the moment with the hopes that I want to go into business development. But no, office environment is great for some, but it's just not me. I do thrive when I'm on my own and left to my own devices. And I'm very, very creative. So I'm itching to do new things all the time.
So your company's called Beepoppaloola. Where did that name come from? It's lovely name.
It's a name that I made up. I always think if you have a business that's not always associated with your name, so if you can brand rather than have something attached to your name, it becomes separate to you. So I didn't want anything to be like Kirsty's Chocolate or Kirsty's Creations, because that becomes you. If you have a business name with something that rolls off the tongue or might tickle you or just is a bit of a tongue twister, people are like, it can stick. Sometimes people struggle, but it can stick. So I needed
definitely.
that element. Yeah.
Very interesting. And so what was like before Beepoppaloola? And how long have you been in this venture?
Like I said, for years I've been on and off self-employed. So, goodness, when I had my daughter, I was 24 years old. I'd just served 9 years in the RAF. I married a soldier as well. We're a very big forces family. My mum and dad are ex-Navy. My brother and sister are ex-RAF. In fact, my sister's joined back up. When Eleanor was little, she was really poorly. So even though I tried to go back into having a career, she was always needing hospital appointments. So no employer was going to entertain that. She was going 3 or 4 times a week at some stages. So I thought, I'm going to have to work for myself and work around her needs, which I didn't mind. So I went into photography and creative design. So I worked for the creative industry for 12 years and I loved it. And then when she turned 18 and she was a little bit more independent, I went back to full-time work. But my heart was always in the creative industry and I just needed to get back to it. So, and here I am. But chocolate was never something that I planned to do. My sister actually passed that baton on to me. My sister's the chocolatier.
I saw that in one of your Instagrams, and you used to make cards. Well, you still do. You're making cards, greeting cards. Is that something that you've always done?
I've done that since 2004. I used to work for the UK craft industry and I would make cards with little objects. So I'd make 3D cards with stickers and die cuts and like flowers. But my cards now are more digital because my photography led to graphic design, because it's both Photoshop does 2 things. It does photography and photos. But because it's a digital platform, you can actually do graphic design on it. So I kind of went into graphic design. So all my cards are digitally made now. They don't have any hand, touchy elements there.
And so, like you said about when you were in the RAF, and that seemed to be a family unit of you all sort of working and being involved in the RAF even before you started working there yourself?
So I joined the RAF at 16. So I literally left school, did my last exam, and then the next day in the June at the age of 16, I just grew up overnight by joining the military.
Did you always feel at school that that's what you wanted to go and try out and do?
Not really. I grew up in North Wales in a place called Holyhead, which is a small island off Anglesey.
I'm from Beaumaris.
No.
Yes.
Beaumaris is gorgeous. I didn't know that.
Bangor area, Beaumaris.
I did not know this. I love the element of surprise. This is brilliant.
Your accent kind of felt homely for me. And I couldn't really place it, but funny.
I do have a Yorkshire accent by birth, but I do have a lot of Welsh mannerisms because I grew up there from the age of 11 to 16. I got married there as well. I got married in Trial the Bay, which was just beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I know all that area. How fascinating. Okay, so RAF Valley was it the place?
The reason why I joined the forces is, firstly, I was influenced by my parents. They're ex-Navy, but the naval office was in Wrexham, which was a bit of a trek. So I went to the office and I joined up in Bangor. But the reason why I did was at Holyhead, it's not a place where you can develop a career. It's a very small community with not much commerce. And I needed to feel like I could leave home. People that grow up in North Wales, and especially around Anglesey, they tend to stay on the island, and it's a gorgeous, close-knit community. But I really had this passion just to go out on my own, and the only way I could do that was joining the forces.
Wow. And so while you were in the forces, did you have that creative and niggle in you? Was it something that you kept feeling was missing for you?
I didn't feel it was missing, but it was always something that I loved to do. When I was growing up, my parents didn't really have much of an income. So a lot of our activities and pastimes involved just being creative, whether that's playing outside, making our own dens. So, for instance, I had a Cindy doll. I'm of that age where I didn't have a Barbie, I had a Cindy. I'm a child of the 70s. And my mum and dad couldn't really afford all the houses and, all the cars that come with it and the wardrobe. So I used to make her dresses out of paper and tissue paper, and I was forever inventing stuff. We had to be creative. And I think children of the 70s and 80s, when we didn't really have that much, you had to be creative. But it stems from a young age. I've always liked to make things and invent ideas in my head, or just daydream. I've always wanted to write a book, a children's book, so that's still on the back burner. But I do have this creative itch. But when I was in the forces, there was no time for that. That was quite a serious business. You couldn't go into work and just develop an idea. This is the military. It's a function that's worked for years and doesn't need changing. It changes with the times, but I couldn't just pick up a pen and paper and start drawing and say, "Hi guys, look at this." I had to segregate my creative brain to my functional side, because the military it's a serious operation.
Yeah.
But I would always, even colouring books, I still love. I don't know about you. I love colouring books. So that was about the extent of my creativity for 9 years, but, it never went away.
So when you left the forces, this business idea developed through the opportunity in a way. Now's your time to actually flourish with your creative side. Did you feel it was that?
It came out of need more than anything because of Eleanor. So I had to fit. Yeah, I had to do, and it was a creative outlet. It was a very upsetting time. Eleanor had and still has a lot of problems. It becomes a bit of a headache for the NHS because nothing that she has is clear cut. She has a number of things. So not only does it become my business, it becomes a way of a distraction for me. And it's interesting. Ellie is not remotely interested in chocolate making or crafting. She's just not interested, and sometimes I want her to be involved because I know how much thrills me and excites me. But on another token, I just think she's her own mind, and just let her do what she needs to do.
Yeah, wonderful. That's very, very wise as a parent, because when we get forced into doing things, we end up kind of pushing against them. Maybe she will one day come around. So we're going to take an inspo pause, and in this segment of the episode, it's like the moment where you do get some downtime, and if you can share some of the things that you may be doing to relax. So what are you currently reading?
Do you know, I am sat by my bed and I have a pile of books here that I buy on the recommendation of a million people, thinking, I'm going to take 5 minutes, I'm going to read a page. It doesn't happen. The only time I actually read is when I'm on holiday, because that's when I truly switch off. So I'm constantly thinking of things that I can do to occupy my everyday as a business. But I am desperate to read this book here by John Boyne, Heart's Invisible Furies. I started reading last year. I've got to finish it. I didn't think I could put it down. I got sidetracked and did put it down, but I'm desperate to finish it. And Another book is The Nightingale, and one of these, if I start a book, I have to finish it, and I know I can't devote that time to it. So I'm hoping this summer, and I get a week away in the Isle of Skye and do it.
Definitely make that a plan. And what are you watching anything at the moment?
I don't watch any telly. People can't believe that I don't watch it. I'll sit down and watch a movie on the odd occasion with Ellie, but I spend most of my free time. I'm doing a degree at the moment.
So you're very busy.
Yeah,
very busy.
Or I'm answering customer questions or thinking of the next thing I can do with the chocolate. So, but I like that. I don't think it is not a burden. No. I love it. That constant creativity, it's being fulfilled. So that's how I pass my time, really.
Wow, that's great. And are you someone who listens to podcasts generally or not?
Do you know, I feel awful. There are billions of podcasts that I keep meaning to listen to, but music I love. I've constantly got Alexa on the go. So music is how I get through all my chocolate making and all the packing, which are more arduous in the part of the role that I do. So yeah, I like to listen to 80s radio. 80s is definitely my era, so you can probably guess my age. But
I'm there with you. And who would you recommend for us to follow on Instagram? Who keeps you happy?
I don't follow people in terms of inspiration. I follow people that lift me or make me laugh, or who isn't there as an influencer to push stuff on me. That really doesn't interest me. But I think you'll now both know Harriet from Space Mask. Harriet got me through the lockdown last year.
Me too.
I fell on her page and I fell in love with her. There's no holds barred with her. She, she talks about her children, her animals, her husband. She doesn't push her business.
No.
In your face, which I love. I mean, she'll mention it. It'll become a part of a project. So I love her for that. I like to follow just everyday mums. I don't buy into the big Instagram, but I will follow people as much as I can. I tend to watch stories. I don't really go popping through grids because I like that personal connection that stories give, especially when people will talk. I know a lot of people won't. So that's how I get my connection. And I follow a really funny lady called Susie, who's called Frumpy Pumpy. And, she's the opposite spectrum to Harriet, and I just adore her.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for that. So coming back to your business and your chocolate making, you, to make chocolate and sell it commercially, I presume you had to certify your kitchen and do some... How can you share with the listeners maybe a little bit about that kind of changeover from household kitchen? Is it the same kitchen?
No. We had our kitchen for 17 years, which was the most vile thing that you can imagine. We had that completely renovated last year. So I didn't start fully making my chocolate until that renovation had taken place. And I purposely had a long, big worktop installed purely for chocolate making. So you have to take a hygiene course, a food handling course. You have to be insured, and you have to register with the council, which I have done. But they can ring up at any time and say, we need to come and inspect you. With myself being ex-forces, the cleaning regime is fastidious, and I'm mindful of sending out chocolate that's being paired in a really clean kitchen, a happy kitchen, and a happy kitchen where I'm singing. So I am singing to every single bar of chocolate that goes out. But it is a serious business because it's food, it's being consumed, and you just need to be mindful of that. But remember, if you want to start, is just get your certificates in order and be insured and registered with your council, and you're good to go.
Fantastic. And so you're doing a degree, you have a daughter, you're making chocolate, designing cards. You're a wife, you have a family and a house to manage. How would you say you find balance in the day?
I have a very, very supportive husband, and he works full time. He's a lecturer. He's also ex forces, and we complement each other. We are yin and yang, but weirdly, we complement each other with the business. He knows exactly what needs to be done, what needs to be stickered up, what elements need to be cleaned down, that you avoid contaminating water with chocolate, and that you read the labels properly when you put, it could be easy to put a milk chocolate label on a dark chocolate bar. So he's brilliant. I think if I was to fall ill, God forbid, he could do a little bit of it. He is brilliant, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do what I would do.
Wow, wonderful. So you are the team. The two of you run this factory together.
Well, not yet, but he can retire. He can actually retire this Christmas at the age of 55. If you do 22 years in the forces, you can retire early because your pension becomes effective at an early age. So I said to him, if this business began to snowball and I needed growth, how would you feel? And he said, yeah, he would do it. I don't know
Wonderful.
how I feel
Keep
about that
going
now.
then. There you go. So your days are all about getting the chocolate done, getting your family. How would you say that you sort of took some self-care and practices that made you feel regenerated? What's the word? Revived, let's say.
So my way of switching off is knowing that I've prepared every order for the next day, or prepared for what I need to make the next day. So I possibly switch off at 9 o'clock at night, which I'm happy to do. I will have a bath. I have a small glass of wine. I'm sure you've seen my wine pouring videos. And just maybe 2 hours before I go to bed. But even so, my mind is whirring, thinking, right, okay, I need to get some boxes in. And gosh, I must remember to ring such and such in the morning. But when you work for yourself, you are your own marketing manager, you're your own accountant, you're your own packing department, you're your own labourer. So your mind constantly whirs. And it's not, once it becomes a burden, that's when I think I will start to get unsettled with it. But no, I'm just challenged with how exciting I can make things.
The pause button. When we teach ourselves to be open to experiences, we increase our creative impulses because creativity thrives in an open mind, a mind that is receptive and non-judgmental. I invite you now to close your eyes and take 10 slow, deep breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Say to yourself the word relax on each out breath. Now imagine yourself at the top of 10 steps with a door at the bottom. With every slow step you take, feel yourself getting deeper and deeper, relaxed. When you get to the bottom, open the door to your ideal place of relaxation. It could be anywhere you choose, a beach, forest, a garden, anywhere. It could be somewhere real or imagined. Try using as many senses as you can. Take a good look around. Pause and listen to any sounds. Perhaps you hear the birds chirping or the breeze gently blowing. Perhaps you can smell the sweet scent of a flower or the salt in the sea. Touch objects and make it as real as you possibly can. Explore your relaxing haven and enjoy it for as long as you wish. You can repeat the affirmation, I enjoy my creative powers and I use them for the highest good. I enjoy my creative powers and use them for the highest good. In this relaxed state, you will start to find creative thoughts and ideas flowing to you. Don't try and force it, just allow creative thoughts to come to you when you feel they are ready. Just enjoy your time. You can never really force a creative. You must stay relaxed and wait until the creative mind is ready. I believe creativity is the art of being open to what is. Do you feel like right now that chocolate making is a passion for you? Your customers are a passion?
It is a passion because I think I've always enjoyed providing a service and I love to make people happy. If people are happy, I'm happy. But the creative side is more my thing. I think if the business grew to perhaps taking on employees, I would take more of a creative role rather than the chocolate making itself. At the moment, I just want to come up with lovely little ideas. And I can't deny that the lockdown has benefited my business because people are at home, they're surfing more, they're using social media more. So, I've got to be prepared for when we get back to normal, that my business might take a little bit of a back turn. So I have to think of a contingent to back that up if it does. So, you have to be prepared for all these kind of things.
Fantastic advice as well. And so along this journey, would you say living mindfully has played its part in any way?
Mindfully to me means, I'm not sure if you know, part of my business is that I don't use plastic, single-use plastic. So
I do know.
Yeah, that's quite important to me. My daughter is a massive animal lover and I've seen what single-use plastic does to the environment. It just destroys her, and there's absolutely no need for it if you can find an alternative that isn't going to impact the cost of your business. So that is the mindful element of what I do. It could be better, but there needs to be more products aware that we can use. But I'll never wrap anything in single-use plastic. It chokes me that we are just destroying. I don't think people realise the amount of single-use plastic that you throw away, be it that from a packet of crisps to an outer wrapping that you get. I don't think there's any need for that amount of plastic packaging in most boxes. Paper is cheap and light. Yeah, that is the only mindful thing that I am conscious of and will strive to be more conscious of, because there needs to be improvement for better packaging and awareness for people to understand what single-use plastic does.
Fantastic. And for our listeners that are potentially thinking about setting up a business or trying their hand at creative ideas that they just love to do at home, have you got any advice or tips for them getting started in the business world, especially if they've come from, for example, like me, teaching, or from, like yourself, you went from the military, the services, turning your hand at business? That's really inspiring for people to see that it is possible. You don't have to have been a businesswoman forever or worked in that kind of industry.
You don't, but I will say that you have to be mindful of your responsibilities. As much as it's lovely to people buy your product and you have a customer base, is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like the accounting and the invoicing and the packing, all the stuff that's kind of like can become a little bit too much, and you lose that creative drive. As long as you are passionate about what you do, and the moment it feels like it's becoming a chore, you either diversify a little bit, step back, or stop. because you never want to lose your passion in anything that you do, because that's it. Everything will just go downhill. So always think of the next thing that you can introduce, or how you can improve that product, or how you can make it cheaper for your customers. But yeah, definitely do not lose your passion, because once that goes, it's gone forever.
So it's that line, that balance between the passion and remembering that it's a business and you take it seriously from the beginning.
You have
from the beginning.
You have to do. Definitely register yourself. Know when your tax return is due, because that comes round quicker than you can, quicker than the blink of an eye. So whilst everything is fun while you're making it and selling it, there is a serious element that drives your business, and that will help shoulder and boost it. But tax returns are not fun. But if you keep on top of your accounts every day, when it comes around to the 31st of January, that's it. You've got to go and fresh for the next year.
And so could you let us know and get our taste buds going? What type of chocolate do you make? What are your sort of specialities? Give us some
goodness
ingredients that you put in your delicious chocolate.
Oh, thank you. I use a luxury Belgian range. I don't use the standard Calabo, which is a Belgian chocolate make that most people in the UK use. So I use a secret Belgian chocolate that I get from a supplier. What I love to put in are limited edition tasters. So at the moment I sell little cups, and inside there's like a hidden flavour. And at the moment, this week is Kirsch. So I do like a big dollop of Kirsch inside a chocolate cup. My best seller is chocolate honeycomb, which is Belgian chocolate honeycomb. And I can do that in dark and white. I don't know of any other business that does white covered honeycomb. My toppings are very generous. So it's edge to edge topping. So that's another USP that I wanted to project and have customers want to come back and try again.
So for those that are really, really wanting to get their hands on some, where can they find you?
They can find me on my tongue twister of a website called www.beepoppaloola.com. So you've got to sing it as you say it. You know, the famous 60s song.
And to catch up on your stories, what's your handle on Instagram?
It's the same. It's Beepoppaloola. And come and join in and have fun. And I do quizzes and giveaways, and there's lots of interaction. It's not just about what I can do for you, it's what can we do together.
Wonderful. And my last question is, what's the one piece of advice or a reminder or a statement that you hope your children can carry in their hearts forever, or Ellie in her heart forever?
It's a quote that I was taught when I was about 15. And I still stick by it today. And it's nice to be important, but more important to be nice. Always. It doesn't matter who you are.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. I wanted to have Kirsty on Mindfully Thrive, as I understand the limitations we can feel while working in a position of service, and professions that tend to suggest that once we get the job, we're lucky, and perhaps we condition ourselves into thinking we are stuck in them for life. I love how Kirsty turns things around as and when necessary. I find it refreshing that she hones in on skills and talents, yet continues to develop herself, as she knows she is on a continuous path of growth, learning and evolution. It seems nothing is too complicated to learn. She has taught herself not to be the victim of circumstance, but to rise up and become your very best self amidst the circumstances unfolding around you. I admire this lady for all she's doing and the joy her business gives to others. It's beautiful to see. So what does your creative potential look like? Do you remember hours passing by as a child as you were quietly being creative, alone, deep in thought? Did you have a hobby you would race home from school to get stuck into? Do you still do it, or anything similar? I would love to hear from you. Creativity is an energy for adventure and change. It may indicate a new idea, inspiration for a book, an artistic vision, or a new project. Make space in your week to let your imagination flow. You may find you're feeling restless or dispirited if you don't know how to channel your creative energy. Perhaps sign up for a course or try a new creative hobby each week until you find something that sits. Think back to your childhood, list all the things you used to do. Keep your heart and mind open as you move into the coming week. Speak the desire to have guidance and direct your creative energy towards something worthwhile. See your creative energy as a triangle connecting creativity, wisdom, and joy for unlimited success. I hope you have fun this week. Get messy, play lots, and tap into the calling of that inner child. If you have enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate it immensely if you could leave a review on iTunes, share on Spotify, and subscribe wherever you love to listen to your favourite podcast. I am committed to growing the show, and I could do with a little help to get it reaching the ears and hearts of those that are meant to hear it. All the love, and have a fun week.